record to this computer. All right, recording in progress. So Lauren, what I'll do is I'll bring the computer over to you just so for those that are over Zoom can hear the introduction, and then I'll make my way back once we start talking about the presentation.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Thanks for being here in person. Thanks for being with us over Zoom on the social media channels. So I'm Lauren Kennedy. I'm the executive director here at the Urban Art Commission. And team, you want to quickly introduce yourselves? Travis.
Richard Eccles, program manager.
Mallory Key, operations. Gabrielle Brooks, communications and development.
We are here to help. We do these info sessions before all of our applications close because we really want our artists to know that we are here to help you through every step of the process, including thinking about how to put your materials together and be competitive in these processes. So UAC, if you're not familiar with us, we're a nonprofit. We were founded in 1997. This is our 25th anniversary year. And our mission is to create opportunities for artists and neighborhoods to connect and shape spaces through public art. So we work really closely with the city of Memphis. We contract with them annually to manage the city's public art program, but then we work with a lot of private clients and partners too around town to do public art at as many places as possible. And one of the things that is so very important to us is that we're leveraging the opportunities that we have to work on to support artists based in Memphis. We know firsthand that public art can be an intimidating process. It's not super easy to understand how you get your first public art project. And so we're doing everything that we can to demystify where possible, and then in opportunities like this through New Public Artists, thanks to the Tennessee Arts Commission, do a real deep dive into how you tackle budgeting, scaling, all this kind of stuff that we're going to get into here in a minute. So we just want y'all to know that our strategic goals, this is the first one in the list, is building up the artist scene here in Memphis to be able to take advantage of these opportunities and get paid to do what you do. And then we're also really committed to the connections between neighborhoods and helping make sure that neighborhoods are driving the process where possible for anything that's showing up in their communities, and then to expand the scope of art as much as we can as well, which long and short, we just try to get as weird as possible when people let us get weird with their money. So that's just a little bit about who we are and why we're here.
All right, perfect. So we're going to go in and start talking about what everyone came here for, which is this new round of New Public Artists, this fellowship. So we are accepting 6 artists in our program. So that should keep everyone in mind. This will be a competitive process, and we'll talk about the application process towards the end. To be considered, of course, you should meet the requirements. You have not received a local or national commission to large-scale public sculpture. No one in here has had a public. Okay, all right, we're good. You have an interest in 2D practice to include sculpture and 3D design. You're encouraged to apply. And you do not need any previous sculpture experience, though it may help if you have any interest. So the major focus and goal of this program is to pour into our local artists that are looking to step into the public art realm and also expand their 2-dimensional work into the 3-dimensional realm. And so we'll show some examples of the past fellows from the last program, just to give you an idea of what was produced and what potentially might be expected for you as far as this program, if accepted into the fellowship program. So the ability, as far as the expectations for this program, there'll be 3 hours in person meeting once a week for 12 weeks. And that's from February to April. They'll be in person, there'll be one-on-one, there'll be workshops, there'll be critiques. You'll have all the resources and people that can help pour into you to give you all the information you need to transform your work and your practice into what the expectation is for you to be a public sculptor / public artist. A genuine interest in creating a temporary public art installation. So the work that you will create will live on the University of Memphis campus, because as you know, this project is in collaboration with the University of Memphis, but there's an emphasis on that this will be temporary. So as you're thinking about applying, as you're thinking about the information that we're asking for this call, start thinking about how you might want to approach and what does that mean to you as far as public art and how you might want to translate or transform the work that you're already doing into a three-dimensional nature. That could be helpful into some of the things that we plan on thinking about as far as application and interest letter. As far as the scope of work, there'll be in-depth training and a professional development of resources for you to be at the top of your game as far as being a public sculptor. Topics that will be covered as far as proposals, statements, budgeting, fabrication techniques, community engagement, and modeling and 3D design visualization, in addition to participating in the workshop, which guest artists and art administrators will help you get to that space. And so all of those things are key factors and key things that may sound a little foreign now. Some of you might have experience working with UAC or any particular projects, but all of these particular phases are important when it comes to working in public art, whether it's the proposal, the statement, thinking about budgeting, fabrication, thinking that if you're working predominantly commission-based or two-dimensional, this will be a large-scale project, and we'll start getting into the numbers a little bit after this slide. The fellows will have a core group of mentors to help develop their design and proposal for those temporary outdoor sculptures. So something to think about. Accepted proposals will be commissioned, like I mentioned, on the University of Memphis campus. Each project will receive $10,000 for a project budget. So that's something to think about as well. All participants will leave the program with a refined portfolio of proposals, materials, and the skills needed to create competitive applications for a variety of public art opportunities. So not only will you get a one-on-one workshop crash course in becoming a public artist, which is significantly different from working for yourself, but also you'll get the tools and you'll be prepared to be able to apply for all of the future projects that the Urban Art Commission has to offer. So that's something to think about as well. Most people, they have their first time applying for projects that are able to get all of this information and input that this fellowship will be giving to everyone as far as that opportunity. The workshops and meetings will take place in person because we've made it past that dreadful C word. I won't even mention it. I'm gonna knock on wood. So that's something to think about as well, and something that you would need to make arrangements to plan for, meeting once a week from February to April. All right, so like I said, that program will last from February to April with an installation time frame of spring 2024. So because of the magnitude of the budget, because this will be a lot of you all's first time stepping and having such a major project, there will be an extensive timeline that you'll be able to focus on fabrication, installation on your new project. So spring 2024 is the projected timeline. They will give you enough time to be able to use all of your resources and pull everything that you need to produce the best result that you can. Dates to keep in mind, as you already know, October the 20th, 2022 was when the application was released. November the 30th is the deadline at 11:59. So what that means is that that's a little over a week. So we'll talk a little bit about the importance of that deadline a little bit later. December the 14th, the finalists will be announced. of course, February through April, we're driving that in. As far as exact times and dates, those that are selected will be updated with that information. And this is something new to the program that we are implementing, is a travel component. So the weekend of February the 17th, we're planning on taking a trip to New York. So if those are taking notes, those are making mental notes, think of this place called Storm King. This will be a place that if you hadn't heard of it, I want you to go ahead and start doing your initial research. It's a place that's in New York, and it features public art. And that'll be an opportunity for us artists and everyone involved in the program to actually see applicable examples of public art in the field, to just give you really the highest example, the highest realm of what to, aim for. Of course, with your budget being 10,000, you will just have more of an insight of the direction on where you would like to go. No, you're good. You're good. You're already doing research. So we can go to the next slide. So we'll talk about our selection committee. I won't bore you with all this information. This lives on our website. This lives on our social media and stuff like that. So of course, you heard from Lauren Kennedy, that's our executive director. She'll be on that selection committee along with Kelsey Harrison. So those that are familiar or that's attending the University of Memphis, y'all are familiar with Kelsey. How you doing, Larry?
Hey.
And we have Carl Woods, who was a past fellow from the program, a graphic designer, artist from Memphis. We also have, last but not least, Sophia Mason, who also was a past fellow in the program as well. And this is your selection committee. These are the people that will be going in and diligently trying to decide who would be the best based off your application information for this opportunity. So just a rough outline of what to expect as far as the curriculum timeline. Of course, first week dedicated to introduction. And as you can see, all of the different things that we mentioned as far as importance to kind of go over, important things to go over that is important for the process of public art, whether it's materials and fabrication, whether it's mock-ups, proposals, budgeting, maquettes, all of that will be aligned throughout this whole program. And I want you to think about and plan, go ahead and get your affairs in order, because if accepted, February the 17th will be that weekend dedicated to traveling to New York. So that'll be that third week. And like I said, from summer to the fall, that will be your timeline to turn all of your planned designs, everything that you plan to create, that will be your time to bring that to life with a temporary installation for spring 2024. We'll plan to have an exhibition. We'll plan to have people to come by and go on that a tour, in which if you visit our website, you can see the old tour that we did for the last exhibition for the last fellows. And so here's an example of a mock-up that was done for our last cohort. And what I want you to think about, if you had seen, or if you were at our 25th anniversary, this was living there in real person. So this is to give you an idea of what your mock-up will look like. And this is by Ahmad George. This was an inflatable that was created. And so we also have another example of a mock-up versus the reality as far as the scale by Essie Cornejo as well. And here are some designs. You can just see what that will look like. Of course, all of those final works, you can see them in your catalogs for those that are in person. You can see how those end up panning out as far as the final results.
Can I comment for a second? So I think those are two actually super great examples to share with y'all, because one of them is one were made by hand, and then one's fabricated by outside vendors. So Ahmad George had this work, they designed it, pardon me, and ultimately had it fabricated by somebody else. Where S.C. Cornejo was working with a number of folks to actually build that large scale installation that she did. And one of the things I really want people to take away from this program is that all of that is great, is good, right? All of that is gravy. We have so many artists that we work with that are using fabricators for small portions to large portions of their projects. We have people who are having their work completely fabricated by somebody else, and then it literally just comes on a flatbed truck and gets bolted to the sculpture. And then we have people who are building everything on site themselves. So it's a totally wild range of things, but all of these are possible. And I hope support the idea that folks can get more involved in this kind of work, regardless of the medium that you work in.
Yeah. Yeah, this is an opportunity to really think outside the box and really step outside of your comfort zone and know that you have help and resources to make all of your dreams and ideas come to life. So these are great examples to reference. All right, so let's talk about applying your application process, things you might want to consider. One portion that will be a part of your application process is your letter of interest. The majority portion of your letter of interest is explaining why you as an artist will be the best for this opportunity. And this is also aligned with the cause that we encourage you to apply for in the future, which is why do you think you'll be best for the commission? So these are things that can go hand in hand. Thinking about the scope of work that lives in the call to artists that we've created for you. So you visit our website. When you go to submittable, it has all the information as far as the scope of work, understanding the details. That's why you're here today, understanding the details of this project and thinking about how do you align well with that scope of work and in what way can you contribute to that? How does this project resonate with your practice? In what way do you see how you can benefit from being in this fellowship program and what could you contribute to the fellowship program? Of course, this is aligned with applying for our calls, but understanding that the community that will mostly be engaging with the work will be the community of the University of Memphis. So think about your relationship with the University of Memphis in whatever capacity and speak to that in your letter of interest. And yeah, you have anything? Anybody else might want to add? Travis, Lauren? Yes.
So in my opinion, as someone who's been through the process of applying into ability to apply, like you said, you really want to, for lack of a better term, pull on the heartstrings. So basically, you want to let them know reasons why you're trying to expand the process and what makes you feel like you're a perfect applicant into trying to build into a new form. We've all been this portion of experimentation in art before. So really pull on those strings and talk about those points of how you feel and improve you as an artist overall and where your end goals in trying to go to. Rich said, really want to talk about those things and then you want to, like I said, work we live at the University of Memphis. So we counted by students, faculty, family, probably through graduation seasons and installation. So just really thinking about those things and how we want your work to be seen in a multitude of different ways, expounding upon those things.
And I'll just add don't write a letter that says, my name is Sheila, I'm an artist, and I want to do this. We've literally seen, not a Sheila, I don't know if it's Sheila, but don't just tell us your name and that you're an artist. We know you're an artist, that's why you're hanging out, right? Tell us about yourself. Think about it like a cover letter for a job, right?
Yep. It's an opportunity to sell yourself and set yourself apart. And think about it in the way that we can't see your work. We don't know anything about you. So it's an opportunity to shed a light on that as well. Thank y'all. So the next step is thinking about resume and CV. And so reference any public art that you may have done And the range of public art could be, you might have done a mural, you might have done a commission for a business, anything that you've done, any relative art experiences is worth contributing to your CV or your resume. Think about any projects, anything that you've done, exhibitions. Of course, feature your skill set, feature what your medium that you work in, and any art accomplishments are worth adding into your CV. This is to show on paper and organized as far as in timeline. And like I said, we can spend more time with you showing you examples in between now and the deadline as you reach out to us on what would be the best CV and the best information to include into your CV. Of course, an active email, website, phone number, and keep it to 1 to 2 pages. Relevant information, keep keyword on relevant information, especially pertaining to giving you a better advantage and a better chance as far as this application process. But like I said, we could talk more in detail with that, and you can pick our brains personally in between time if you would like to schedule a meeting.
If you don't have an active website, you maybe post artwork on the social media channel, feel free to include that social media as well.
Yep, so social media. All right, next step, portfolio. You can submit 20 images of any project, any artwork that you've done, sample images. Of course, they need to be high resolution. That'll be a knock to you if we can't see the work if it's not clear. So make sure that you get clear images of that work. No thumbnails. Of course, information, important information. Let us know what that work is. Let us know a name. Let us know title, dimension, the relevancy of the work, the year that it was done, budget, price, whatever it's worth. Where is that work living? And the best way that I would do this, and what has been done, you can just organize it in a PowerPoint presentation where the artwork lives right here and all of the relevant information about it lives beside it. And then you can save it as a PDF. It makes it a lot easier for us to kind of go through it and thumb through it when the selection committees look at it, rather than uploading 20 random images with no context. So don't do that. I notice somebody's going to do it, so try not to. Remember to give us some context and make it a lot easier. Just go into PowerPoint or any software, that Google Slides, where you can organize everything by slides and include all the relevant information so people can understand what's going on, especially with them being pictures. We need to understand scale, how big this work is, how small it is. All of it's going to be beneficial to you when it comes to that. And of course, the platform that we'll be using, I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with using this platform, but it's called Submittable. So it's an online platform. And as you click the link on our website, it links you straight to the Submittable, and it asks you to create an account, and all of that information will live there. So any questions in between now and hopefully not before 11:59 on November 30th. Of course, well in advance, we can help you with any questions or anything that you want to improve on before you submit. Let's see. Of course, your portfolio should reflect.
This is probably more.
Yes,
Commissions.
it's more towards commission, and its information is tied into where we're asking people to apply to specific calls, which this whole process is going to prepare you to apply for the call. So even if you don't get this opportunity, we still encourage you to apply to future calls that we have coming up in the future. And this is some of the same information that we will use in our information sessions for any particular projects. So all of it goes hand in hand, and we're really just trying to draw that parallel and give and really gain more public artists in the whole goal of it. So that's something to think about as well. And it's gonna be all right. Let's take a breath. It's gonna be good. We're here to help you. We are a resource, and look at us as such. So anything that you don't have, anything that have any questions over, feel free to reach out to us. There is a info@uacmem.org. Also, if I'm not mistaken, here's all of our contact information as well. So you want to grab a screenshot of this. We have our business cards over there, and we're all here. So, after tonight's meeting, if you have any questions or you want to pull us to the side for anything and schedule something, now is the time to do it. But we're here to help. And as you know, big timeline, November the 30th, 11:59, that's the deadline. So advice from artist to artist, don't wait until that day to be bombarding us with questions, because who knows what our schedules will look like. So think in advance, give us the courtesy, give yourself the courtesy to have enough time to look over things and apply well in advance. So you won't even have to think about it. At 11:59, you could be asleep and not worried about the application. So with that being said, that is it. Do we have any questions? And feel free, if you're virtual, to drop it in the chat, and we'll answer it out aloud, so everyone can hear it. So let me get that set up.
I just want to put one more note out there on the portfolios. I really encourage everybody to use all 20 images to submit, even if that means you're submitting detail shots of one piece. Or you're giving us multiple angles of something that might have look from different vantage points. That's really helpful. So every now and then you'll see people submit just like 5 images that they think are most directly related to that opportunity, but we want to get the best sense, especially for this kind of opportunity, we want to get the best sense of your work. So use all 20 images.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't have to be right. Totally. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be, but if you've done some 3-dimensional work, think about what you want to include to better your opportunity and your chance. And just think about that selection committee will be looking at this virtually. So make them do as much as you can to make them feel like they are looking at this work as in person. So like you said, including multiple different shots. I know sometimes scale is important as far as understanding a work. And as y'all know, everyone is encouraged to go look at work in person. So because it's going to be a virtual submission process, kind of think of that. Think of anything, think of any questions that the selection committee may have that you can't necessarily answer. Try to answer it all in advance, whether it's in your letter of interest, whether it's in your resume, or whether it's in your portfolio. Just try to think of what questions could be answered and what could I include to better my chances and my opportunity to be a selected finalist. So. Yeah.
I have a quick question.
All right. What's your question, Larry? Let me see if I can cut the volume up so everyone can hear you. All right.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. I'm just curious. So when we upload the 20 photos, if I've got a photo, let's just say of a mural, can I include another shot, even though I know you may have a detailed shot and you got a full shot, but is it okay to submit a photo of the work in process, meaning showing my team actually on the site working?
Yeah. I think that is good as what showing in progress work and showing the process. That's good. That's showing the committee that you're already thinking process based, and that you're already have some of the basic knowledge to be prepared to take on an opportunity like this. So I do think that is acceptable. Yeah, I feel free to include those photos. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's all. All right, thank you.
We got a question in the chat, and it says, is it possible to submit an application as a collective, or is it only open to individual artists? It is only open to individual artists. Now, if you are applying for any of our other UAC projects, it is okay to submit as a collective or a group. So this fellowship emphasis on what we spoke on in the beginning, that we're only selecting 6 finalists. So if you have a partner that you want to apply with, y'all might have to apply separately. And that might be a problem, but I I would say that that it will be just one artist at a time. That will be a disqualification if you did that. We want to give you that heads up. So that's actually a great question that you asked that. So if you were planning that, I'm so sorry.
So I'm not sure if I know you mentioned a $10,000 project budget, which is somebody wanted to work collaboratively on that. That could be interesting.
Yeah.
But, we want the fellows in the lead design role for sure.
Mhm.
But there's also a $1,000 stipend to each of the fellows who participated to realize it's a real commitment on your time. So part of that restriction is a budgetary.
Yeah, it's a budget, and like I said, thinking not only about wanting the opportunity, but also understanding what those expectations are, understanding that you will be asked to meet once a week and travel throughout the timeline from February to April. So, you know, if that $1,000 is an extra incentive, that's something to consider and think about, but just know that your time will be requested in that way. But any other questions?
I guess because you were just talking about stipend,
Mhm.
is the travel to New York sort of covered in that, or does that come?
Travel is completely covered by UAC. Stipend is $1,000 to you. Yeah, travel is separate. All that.
So yeah, so the question that we received for those that are viewing on the video was that about travel, would that be covered? And yes, that will be covered by UAC along with receiving a $1,000 stipend. So that's something to think about as well as you are considering applying. That's a good question. Any other questions?
Who specifically should we contact here if we want to work on the portfolio or?
Mainly contact either me or Travis. We kind of work hand in hand with that. We have artist background, so I want y'all to feel comfortable with that. We're also familiar with the scope of work of the project, so we'll kind of help align what you already have with what the application is. So if you have our information, highlight us and just send us an email saying, hey, look, what's your time, what's your availability, when can we connect? And what works best is phone call, Zoom, or we can carve out a time to meet in person in office. So, and we have a tendency, just to throw this out here, have a tendency that those that take that opportunity to meet with us, to get that advice, have an advantage because you're already taking that initial step to kind of see and pick our brains as program managers for UAC. So take advantage of that. Mm-hmm.
I got a question on Instagram from Lauren Carlson Art asking for clarification about the submission of images, the process. She was asking, she didn't really touch it, was asking, did you mention PowerPoint and labeling the size and material within the individual row?
Yes. Yes.
You can upload JPEGs and then
There's a description field.
There, yeah, and that just make sure you use those description fields if you don't feel good about the PDF format. Richard also had a good idea about laying it out in PowerPoint and saving as a PDF.
Yeah, so Submittable has an option and it'll have a 20 file limit. And with each file that you upload, it allows for you to have a description where you can put the name, the dimension, the year, and I think the budget or price of whatever artwork that you're featuring. If you would like to do another option, you can, if you already have a working portfolio, a good way to organize it just for other viewing purposes is create a PowerPoint presentation where you have the image living on one side and all of that relevant information living on the other side. And you can save that presentation as a PDF, and you can also save it as a workable PowerPoint presentation. So for future references, you can continue to go into that and update that and work on that. Either way works, but just know that Submittable has an outline setup for you to go ahead and upload those individual images, and it allows you to add a caption to add all that information. So is that helpful?
think she said yes. but I'm not sure.
Okay, I hope it is. And if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to us in emails. Mhm. Anybody else? Thank y'all for coming. It means a lot. That's good. That's good. That's good. And what I would do, because if I was not working for UAC, I'd probably be applying for this opportunity. I would just take one of these catalogs and just, peruse through it and look through it and really become familiar with that information. You might find something in there that could help you with your letter of interest or help you with your direction as far as applying. So, yeah. Well, if y'all don't have any other questions, thank y'all so much for your time. Oh, whoa. Got one more. Davis, got Mr. Davis. He said, if accepted, will there be information available for outside source to help construct the sculpture? Yes, there will be. There will be, you will be linked up and have all the access because a lot of y'all will be first time working in this field. So we'll source you with all engineers or anybody that can help bring your ideas to life. And that'll be standard for any UAC project that you apply for as well. So yes, don't feel like you'll be thrown in the water and say, hey, look, I got this money and I got this plan, but I don't know how to bring it to life. No, you will have all the resources to help you construct these visions that you're planning in this program. So I hope that helps you and comforts you as you plan on applying. All right. Mhm.
Is there a size limit to this?
No particular size limit, but you do have to think about the site specific, and you'll learn more about that as you are, if you are granted the opportunity to be a fellow. You'll identify a site on campus where you want your piece to live. So it'll have to make sense for that site, right? So that's a part of public art. That'll be a part of your training process is learning. All right, although I have this idea, although I have this plan, thinking about how the general public or the site will engage with the work, which will strongly inform how big or how wide it should be. So is
In
that?
addition to working with some of the folks at University of Memphis campus who will help us troubleshoot, like this is a main thoroughfare, so we can't actually lay right across this sidewalk or something. So
Mhm.
which is again part of typical process anyway. So there'll be some folks that will tease out the side hospitals.
I guess along those lines, some of these pictures, it seems more indoor work.
Mhm.
Is it outdoor or indoor, or does that?
Mixture of both. Just certain people within the program. Sites that they chose, they're working with, want to be in interior space. They can get certain people, about 4 fellows.
Yeah, 3 or 4 that were outside.
So, like, show, a mod sitting off the head, so we fabricated that will be outside for the entire
Mhm. Yeah.
At the end of the day, we want you to be able to take your work and make it like scale it totally differently. You could live in the round, have it really fill space, take up volume. And sometimes it happens inside, sometimes it happens outside.
Okay, I kind of answered it, I'm assuming, financial, but my question was, so in a situation where you're not having a fabrication somewhere, or if you are, it's kind of mixed both, will there be a lot of space for you to create, or is it just where you have your own, you have to, design and create where you have space?
There will be space at the university, so we're in the process of that. So we can find some fellows with access to shops. I said we partnering into it. So but also that goes there to anyone. The process is long. Say, okay, I don't have the space because I want to get something 30 feet tall. How can I find open space, or can I contract with like people with space, with the whole part, but also it's an opportunity to walk through
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, what was asked was, will there be allotted space to work on particular projects? And yes, there will be, with it being in collaboration with the University of Memphis, you will have access to their shops. And you also will have access to the mentors as well. And so with those mentors, you will be able to coordinate some places to fabricate your work if you're doing it by hand, or of course, you are also available to outsource a lot of the work as well to get worked on as well. So those are things to think about. Those are things to consider. Any other questions? If not, like I said, thank y'all so much. Utilize our time, utilize all of our resources that we have here in between now and November the 30th, and we look forward to everyone applying. All right. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for coming
Right,
by.
thank you.
All right. Good to see you, Larry.
Thank you.
You can't where you're going.